Hey there, everybody. It's Dave here from Vikes versus SKOL. We are at the 2-minute warning. And it's time to hit the roll in. Welcome to Vikings First and SKOL's live at the 2-minute warning. Next. Hola, everybody. How are you doing today? SKOL and aloha akana. Duncan, good to see you. Good to see you, Ron. Good to see you, Chris, at the game. Now, did you think that Thielen, or the, not Thielen, our tight end, Hawkinson catch was a catch? I did, but wow. Two-tone. Wow, Carson, you're not settled in yet. That's a funny one. I love it. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Today has been a little bit frustrating, at least for yours truly. I'm sure it has been for most people. We will hopefully pull this one out. It's going to be interesting. See if Kevin O'Connell and crew can pull this one out. It's going to be a challenge. At least in my mind, it is a challenge. We will see if it happens. Now, what am I doing? My computer's acting screwy. Not that that's the first time it's ever happened. All right. The first half was not good. Not good at all. And the whole fact that we had to settle for a bunch of field goals is not good. Cody saying play calling is trash. I've heard that from a friend of mine. He says that too. Chevy is wow. Chuck is all winds blows. I guarantee you Tyler will have a thing or two to say about that. But I'm not disagreeing. Not one little bit. Nope. Yes, Brian, they made a game of it, but too many miscues. Yes. Too many miscues. It is what it is. If they would have I've got my own opinions. We'll hold off on those. We're back outside of the 2-minute warning. Will Reichert is going to attempt the field goal to bring it within a score. He attempts it. It's good. Score is now 28-22. We're down by 6. Cause and effect. KOC might have some explaining to do after the game. Like, why didn't he run the ball on 3rd and 1 in the first half to get a fresh set of downs when you can run or pass, but 2 straight? Put in Brosmer at half. I was calling for it there, Cody. I was calling for it because I thought Carson Wentz is not having a good day. He tends to stare at his receivers. But hey, if we do catch an L going on this one, is this one on Carson or KOC for not running the ball as much? Both. Yes, is the answer to that. Is how I'd put it. Brian says play calling was not the issue today. Better throw to TJ and a TD and would be a big difference. Kelly Miller says Wentz has issues. Yes, we know he has issues. That's why he's a backup quarterback. And the kickoff is good down to the 6. Being returned. Goes through all the way to the 44. What a great stop. Special teams. Oh, come on now. If those field goals were touchdowns, we'd have 42 points. Yes, Lone Wolf. We would, and I'd be smiling a lot more than I am right now. But hey, I can tell you I found a good scotch. Scotch I actually like. It's called Smokehead. Islay Malt. It's a sweet, smoky scotch. Doc Proto says, I feel Liquor QB was not bad. O-line excuses. All right, there goes defensive stop. The Doc says, Liquor, I feel like our QB play was bad. No O-line excuses. Good afternoon, Peter. Good afternoon to everyone who's joined us. I appreciate it. You guys absolutely rock. Now, I was hoping to watch this game live. They showed on the broadcast map it would be live, but no, it was not. Too evil to hope he cannot throw. Wentz was awful. Yes, it's a sweet Pete. Forlorn. And cheers. It is a sweet Pete. It reminds me of actually barbecue, but it's good. Better than the game's been. I can tell you that much. I can tell you that much. All right, here we go. Come on, defense. Yep, incomplete. All right, there's minute 45 left. 3rd and 9. Afternoon, Brian. Appreciate it. Wentz overthrowing his receivers or underthrowing them. Yes. Up to the defense. Mary says, hello, sweet Mary. We bear ourselves. Too many missed opportunities. Can't win that way. No, we can't. Anthony Tullinson says, Wentz is terrible. Lost us the game. Daniel Thaw, no more Wentz, please. Chris is at the game, and I'm curious how many boos rained out, especially at the end of the first half, Chris. But Raymond agrees with Mary. and says, I don't care if McCarthy has to have his leg amputated. He better play Thursday. We'll see. We'll see. I was hoping for Brosmer in the second half, like I said. And I've got the receipts to prove it as well. All right. Well, Wentz went. Yes. Wentz is Wentz. He does Wentz things. He tends to track certain receivers, and that's it. I watched his head today. He does not go from read to read to read to read. And then, especially when they're man covered. And it's just crazy. Now, can he throw the ball to the outside? Yeah. He can. Now, that I'll give him. Do we trust in Wentz with a Hail Mary? We have no other choice. Daniel, no other choice. Except for if the Eagles score. Oh, wow. 3rd and 9, and they give up another big pass. I don't think the defense has given up a big pass all season until this game, and they've given them like 4. This is crazy. Beats Isaiah Rodgers on the move. Wow. Yeah, it says you can see why Philly gave up on it. Yeah, there was a reason. All right, it goes down to about the 11-yard line. Yay. That shovel pass. Intentional grounding was so bad. I don't know why he did not look at C.J. Ham. C.J. Ham was the check down, and C.J. Ham was wide open. No. It was bad. All right, minute 36. Eagles 1st and 10 on the Vikings 11. 4 fresh downs. We're going to lose this one. It's unless there's some miraculous turnover. All right, hands it off to Barkley, caught behind the line of scrimmage. I feared Barkley coming into this game, and we shut him down after the first, few runs he had. Too evil to hope. It's wild people to think Vikings are anything but a bad team this year. We've got talent on both sides of the ball, too evil. Lots of it. But have they put it together? Have they been healthy enough to put it together? Nope. They have not. Now, I'm not blaming health today. Everybody's relatively healthy that is allowed to play. Vikings corners got exposed, yeah. They did. Cody, we need a pick six or a fumble. Yeah, we do. We need something. We're not going to get it, but we need it. And they hand off to Barkley, who gets minus half yard, maybe. And the clock runs, and it runs, and it runs. Unless the Vikings call timeout. I can't hear. I don't have the volume on because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But, hey, it is what it is. Minute 32 in the fourth. They've only ground down that many? Yep. Hey. Let's see what happens. All right. Hey, David. Yo. We had no business losing this game. I agree. We should have won it. But you can't do that settling for field goals. Yes, Brian, just bad coverage play at the end of the defense kept them in this game. Time for JJ. Yes. All the weapons on the offense, and we can't score. Yep. David Rinaldi, red zone bowl. Yeah, Freddie, it would be nice if we could block a field goal. Let's see. And then pick it up and take it back. That'd be nice. Ant says the only positive was the run game. Why the run game? Jordan Mason only had 57 yards. We only had 89 on the day. A good chunk of that was Carson Wentz when he decided he couldn't throw the ball, he'd run it. Yes, Wentz is Wentz. And here we go. 40 seconds, 39, 38. Yeah. We're out of timeouts. They're going to bring it down in the last few seconds. Fourth down. This is going to be interesting. The game clocks, or the play clock is 1 second less than the game clock. Wonder if they're going to call a timeout with 1 second left and then do some BS play. Probably. Carson runs like a skittish deer. I don't know about that. I think more like a giraffe. $36 for this. Stopping the run was a big positive. Yes, Brian, it was. It was. But as I was saying, St. Louis area, they had this on the local broadcast until they didn't, and they'd rather watch the Bears. But luckily, they notified Sunday Ticket in time to switch. I watched the game on Sunday Ticket. Mary, we'll hear about tomorrow's how the Eagles are back. On national broadcast, yes. That I agree. Daniel, not hard to see. You have to start J.J. McCarthy on Thursday, I think. Deshaunte Peterson. Wentz is arse. Yes, I agree. I agree. And if this is a bad team, let's get JJ out there to learn. Ant says it's bad when we lose and the Bears win. Yeah, that's bad. And that's the game. All right. Your Minnesota Vikings lose. Final score is Philadelphia Eagles 28, Vikings 22 at U.S. Bank Stadium. The Vikings lose. The Vikings lose. They drop to 3-3. Still 500, but 3-3. And we'll see how it goes. Hopefully the Cardinals will defeat the Packers, but I doubt that. Tracer KOC calling ours too. There's blame to go around. That's for sure. DeShante, I'm glad people see it fully now. He's cost everyone the game. Should have been a blowout at half. Yeah, I agree. Daniel says, let's be honest, it's a developmental year. And it is. But what everybody saw in the preseason got everybody's hopes up. And it fell apart. Brian says, looks like a 500 team. That's why Vegas is had us at 8.5. They bumped us up to 9.5, but they had us at 8.5. Now they could probably back down to 8.5 as of today. But we'll see. Asaf Day, but I apologize if I mispronounced that. If McCarthy doesn't play next week, what are we doing? That's a good question. 3-1 and no run plays. And I'm going to bring in my buddy, Darren Campbell, partner on Two Old Bloggers. Darren, what had you seen today?
I haven't got a chance to look at the comments so far, Dave, but the defense won't be blameless here. But I think this is and I think that the Vikings, they've got the talent to be better than 3-3, but I think this is what you get when you are playing the quarterbacks that we're playing, right? You just saw with Wentz today, and I'm not saying it would be any different or better with McCarthy in there today, but you just saw with Wentz today, you look at the stats and you say, hey, those look pretty fat. He had threw over 300 yards and that sort of thing, but the completion percentage isn't that great. And it's just the decisions and the missed throws that he makes, like the one to Addison on the first drive where he's wide open and he missed so badly. There's a couple others. Even that throw to Hawkinson that wasn't a touchdown. I don't know. Hawkinson's wide open. So where I know he's pressured a little bit there, but you need a better, more accurate pass than that. The pick six, the grounding call he got when he's got Ham open in the slot. He takes the sack when on that last drive when like Greg Olson said, all you need to do is like drill it through the uprights. They're not going to call intentional grounding there. So it's the decision making and his inaccuracy at times that just cost you. And he's a backup quarterback. So what do we expect? And that's what you get in a close game like this with better quarterback play. The Vikings probably win this one by 6 points. But they gave away 7 points with the pick six on a throw that, hey, I know mistakes are made, but Wentz, who's a veteran, that's something you'd think he would recognize, the backing out and guys dropping into coverage, but he didn't. He went hot and he threw it right where the Eagles figured he would, which was to Jefferson. And, a defensive end steps in front of it. So those kind of things happen. And then you have a day where the Vikings run defense outside of the first drive played really well, but then they give up the big plays. Isaiah Rodgers got caught on 2 double moves, and they were very crucial misplays by him. But the defense can't bail you out every time. And when you go 1-6 in the red zone, and I think, again, better quarterback play makes better decisions, and some of those end up not being field goals, but touchdowns. There you go. That's what I think of the game. And I thought Jalen Redmond played a hell of a game. And I think Jonathan Grenard leads the league in almost sacks this year.
Freddie said, did we solve the tush push?
Interesting, but it's an interesting question, Freddie. I was going to say, who cares? Like we lost, but it was something the Vikings tried and Brian Flores employed to combat that. And they only got a chance to do it twice, I think. And once they got called for an offside. So one of those games where we didn't get to see that defensive strategy, whether it would have really worked. But on the first tush push, I didn't think the Eagles actually got the first down. I don't know where they came up with that spot. Hurts looked short to me, but they gave it to him because they always do. They just figured any other time there's a spot, they always give it. It seems these days they anticipate the guy's knee went down opposed to where he lands, and they place it where they think the knee went down, or where they saw it went down. In this case, they didn't do that, but I admit there's like 700 bodies there where it's hard to see. But he didn't look like he got the first down to me. But would that have made the difference in the game? Probably not.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't.
It's just, but what with the Vikings quarterback situation is, where do you go from here? Well, your other option is McCarthy, of course, and he has struggled when he has played. But again, you're not going to find anything out about him if you don't play him. And I don't know what the Vikings are going to do Thursday night. I don't think that McCarthy's ankle is going to be completely 100% healthy in 5 days, or 4 days, but we'll see. And when he is 100% healthy, what do they do then?
It was obvious that Wentz was hurting too, especially after the hit in the ribs. Again, he looked like he was in pain.
And I don't want to be like shit on Wentz. Like, he's a battler, he's a gamer. He played better in the second half than he did in the first half. But again, he just doesn't play well enough for the Vikings offense, which I think has been pretty mediocre all year, continues to be mediocre. They seem to be okay, pretty good, like marching from the 30 to the other opponent's 20. And then when they get there, things get gummed up. And again, they scored 21 points last week, 2 weeks ago against the Browns with Wentz in there. They scored 21 points against the Steelers and lost the week before. And they got 22 points today, 1 for 6 in the red zone. So outside of the Cincinnati game, where again, we had 2 defensive touchdowns, that 21, 22 points seems to be 20, 23 points thereabout. That seems to be your high point for the Vikings with a Wentz-led team. And then there'll be some games that'll be outliers where we'll score a bit more than that, or maybe a bit less, but that seems to be what you get out of him. And I think it's because of the decision-making and then some of the inaccuracies that he gets. He has, that power completions that Kevin O'Connell talks about. Wentz can do that, but then he'll miss on some where you're kind of like, how did you miss that throw? Like, or how did you not see that player was open? So yeah, frustrating, of course, but this team looks like it's a 3-3, 500 team, and it's because of the quarterback situation and the quarterback play, mostly, I think. Yeah, there's other things you could nitpick about. The pass defense today, a couple of the Eagles converted a couple of 3rd and forevers because Hurts escapes the rush, extends the play, and then eventually somebody's going to get open, especially if those guys you're throwing to are A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And the 3 big throws he made, the people will say, well, great throws by Wentz. Those guys were fucking wide open. Like, if you like, all he had to do was put a little air on it and it's game over. And that's what he did. So hats off to the Eagles. They got it done. The Vikings need to turn things around pretty quickly here and beat the Chargers. But you can't keep doing this 1 win, lose 1, win 1, lose 1, and expect to make the playoffs either, or be a factor. You got to stack some wins together. And so far the Vikings haven't been able to do that. And it's because mostly of the quarterback situation and the play. Now I'll shut up.
Yeah, because we have the whole crew today. Jonas just joined us, as well as Tyler at the same time. Jonas, what did you think of that game before I hand the floor over to Tyler?
Yeah, one word: unnecessary. And unnecessary mainly looking at one position, because I guess there were many factors that went into it, but if you have even halfway decent quarterback play today, you win this game. It's that easy. It's that easy today. They had so many missed opportunities, starting with that shot. I think, was it to Addison or was it Jefferson? I'm not sure about that, which was so severely underthrown. Where he had to turn around and make an acrobatic catch out of that. When if you throw that ball even halfway decently, you walk into the end zone with a touchdown. That's an easy one, and there were others. Was that crossing route. There was the miss where he didn't see CJ Ham. Obviously, the pick six was bad. It's so bad. What we just saw from Carson Wentz. Like the only good thing from what we got today was that I would say anybody who tried to make this an actual QB debate should now just shut up, because Carson Wentz is not it, and we just saw it today.
Gotcha. I agree. Tyler?
I don't understand Brian Flores' play calling and strategy today on an overall level. I think Jonas hit the nail on the head with the quarterback stuff. Look, if Sam Darnold's on this team right now, and I'm not going to play the we should have signed Sam Darnold game, that's just not what it is. But Sam Darnold would have given you good quarterback play, and this team would be 6-0. Straight up, they'd be 6-0. I don't think it's really that much of a question. And we knew that there'd be growing pains in the fact that this JJ McCarthy thing, which I'm going to rant about it tomorrow because the reporting from national media has been just absurd. First, it's 2 to 4 weeks. Now they always knew it was going to be 6 weeks. Which is it, Schefter? Which is it? I'm so sick of this whole thing. I'm so sick of the quarterback discussion. My wife is so sick of it by proxy, and half of it's from me. The other half of it is she's just sick of it too. Wentz was awful today, but to me, the big storyline is going to be what was Brian Flores doing? They did not send a lot of blitzes. They waited until the end of the game to really start sending the house, which this is Jalen Hurts. We kind of know what he is. He was atrocious against zone blitzes all season long, and he was pretty good against man coverage, whether blitzed or not. And man, I got to tell you, just a frustrating game plan to watch 4 guys try to get pressure on Jalen Hurts with that offensive line. Now, they were without Cam Jurgens, and Tyler Steen at right guard is meh. He's okay. He's nothing special. He's not a disaster, but he's not good per se. They weren't able to get enough. And then they couldn't contain him, and Hurts was able to pick apart the defense down the field. And when they needed to get a stop on that 4th down to A.J. Brown for the touchdown, on that 3rd and 10, they couldn't do it. And just baffling play calling, basically just begging Hurts to beat you. That's kind of what it felt like to me the whole game. They were just begging Hurts, hey, beat us, buddy. Beat us. We dare you. Well, you just did. And Hurts has the ability to throw the ball deep down the field accurately. It'll die on him on occasion. But there should have been more of a plan to do some creative blitzing. There should have been more of a plan to attack Jalen Hurts, and I just don't think there was. To me, that was frustration. I don't really have a problem with that final 3rd down call where they sent the house, but where was that all game? Why weren't you doing more of that all game? And too often, Jalen Hurts, he had 4 incompletions. 4 of them. And guess what? One of them was on that final drive when they sent the house. Why weren't we doing that more? Send 6 guys. Now, I do have on PFF's live game data, he was blitzed on 20 dropbacks, which was 76.9% of them. But remember, with PFF, blitzing just means 5 rushers. They weren't doing a lot of house blitzes. They weren't doing a lot of exotic stuff. They were doing, we've got 5 guys on line, we're just going to send them. And they were also doing it where one of those guys was dropping, usually Dallas Turner. And the usual pressure cooker stuff that Flores has dialed up wasn't there today. And I want to understand why, because he had a perfect passer rating when kept clean. He had a perfect passer rating when blitzed. You can't let any quarterback do that, let alone a guy who's struggling. It's the red zone offense was atrocious. 1 of 6. You can't do that. And Carson Wentz was bad. And we're going to hear, oh, but Carson Wentz put up 300 plus yards. No, he sucked today. He was bad. And this was a game that was in their grasp that they should have won, and they didn't. And we can blame injuries, which they certainly had a small part in it. They had a small part in it. I mean, you're still starting a backup quarterback, and then Blake Brandel got baptized by that defensive line. Oh my goodness. It was a disaster when he was in the game. It was bad. The botch snap, if you just have an experienced center, that botch snap doesn't happen, which outside of that, he just kept getting baptized by Jalen Carter and just absolutely pistol whipped all game long. And they brought in Juergens. I couldn't tell if they were rotating or not, but Juergens played significant amount in the second half. Just, they're going to watch his game film and be throwing things against the wall because they're going to see how many times that they should have won this football game. And that sucks because in this league, when you have a chance to win and when you play well enough to win, you got to do it.
So Tyler, my question when you talked about the we got a backup quarterback, yes we do. So is your logic there that if McCarthy hadn't been hurt and he'd played the past 4 games, that some of the things that we've seen that have been issues with him would have been smoothed out and he'd be playing better now than he was then? Is that where you're coming from?
The hope.
No, he'd absolutely. Yeah, theoretically, he should be playing better. Like the tough part about watching the first 2 games and then watching, like Wentz, the first 2 games you saw the real flashes of greatness, not just in the fourth quarter against the Bears, but you saw like little things like that 50+ yard touchdown to Justin Jefferson where he just drops back, hitches, and fires a missile. He's doing things that are good. He's not just this utter disaster. I put about 40% of the reason why J.J. McCarthy wasn't very good on Kevin O'Connell because he did not adapt enough to help out his young quarterback. But the second you realize that Wentz couldn't run everything in this offense, guess what he did? He made a lot of checks. They made a lot of adjustments to the playbook, a lot more RPOs. They're running like 1 read plays and then dumping off in the screen on the backside. That lateral that went out of bounds, that was one of those plays where you have Justin Jefferson running like a go route. You don't like it, you throw over to Jordan Mason and it's a little bit of a screen. If this team had capable quarterback play, they'd be 6-0. And I'm not going to
at the least.
I'm not going to do the Sam Darnold game. But if he were here, it'd be 6-0. I really do believe that. And Kevin O'Connell's done enough at times to put this team in position to win. But coaching stops once you get on the field. You can't coach how to make a play. You're given all the tools to succeed, and they didn't. 1-6 in the red zone is disgusting. It's terrible.
And I think I've seen in the comments that somebody said that the Vikings didn't have a red zone plan. They did. They had a good plan. They had the guys open. The QB just didn't hit them. That's
the CJ
that's
Ham
the reality
one.
of the game. Yeah, the CJ Ham one. Then obviously the missed opportunities. I think it was Addison who had that crosser. He walks into the end zone if Carson Wentz doesn't turf that one. This utterly, it was the CJ Ham one where he had this utterly ridiculous intentional grounding. Like that's one of the things. As a veteran QB, he is 32. How can you still do stuff like this? You just cannot have that. Obviously the holding call was weak. I would say I don't think you should call holding on that one, especially if you watched the Eagles offensive line today.
The guy fucking down. The defender fell down.
But that's not the reason today. The Vikings should kick rocks today because they didn't execute this offense when they should have, especially looking at the QB position. That was the big factor today. And yes, there were other ones. There were some bad calls. There were some of the things we talked about with the defense. But in the end, it comes down to if we get decent QB play today, we win that game. It just comes down to that.
Mary asked, was it KOC or was it Wentz?
Wentz, 100%. Wentz.
Easily.
When you go back, when we watch this game at all 22, I'm going to throw things because there were opportunities and there were misses. They kept trying to throw these like 9 balls and corner routes to Jefferson down the field. Guess what? He's got to step. That's NFL open. You have to hit those. You are a starting quarterback in the National Football League, even though he's a backup. You got to hit those throws. Inexcusable that he didn't hit those throws. Absolutely inexcusable.
At least one.
Hit 1 out of the 5. You're a quarterback in the NFL. I shouldn't be able to hit those. None of the 4 of us should be able to. But guess what? We're not NFL players. Make a play. He didn't make a play.
And then there's also Kevin O'Connell is gonna get flagged for that one goal line sequence where he had they had 3 consecutive passes after a long first down run. I think it was and 2. I think they had 2 to go, and then they threw it 3 times in a row. Although, again, I think he had run play called on 2nd and 2, and Wentz audibled out of it, and again missed Jefferson. It was the one where DeJean punched it loose. That was a run call.
He punch it loose? Like he created some.
Yeah.
So
he created some stuff, but Jefferson it was a tough catch. Jefferson a lot of times comes down with that, but Jefferson had it. DeJean didn't really knock it away, but he was creating.
I saw DeJean's right hand hit.
It pulled the arm away from the football.
No,
so once Justin Jefferson caught
it hit the top of his hand, who had the football, and the football came out.
I saw when Jefferson's twisting, he gets his arm on the inside of Jefferson's arm, and it pulled the hand away. That's what I ended up. Look, at the end of the day, DeJean made a good play, and Justin Jefferson couldn't quite bring down a very difficult catch. That kind of stuff just happens. That's why fade routes are bad. That's why, even though NFL coaches love them, that's why stuff like analytics and stuff hate them, because you're basically just saying, hey, I'm going to give up 50% of my ability to make a play on a potential touchdown by just throwing up essentially a jump ball. There's some players, if it's Megatron or Randy Moss, you can probably increase that percentage by 10 to 20, but it's just not a great play call because you give yourself such a slim margin of error, and we saw that. And it sucks.
And again, it was inaudible by Wentz. There was a run called. That was quite obvious. He changed the play.
And you know what? I don't necessarily blame him for changing the play. You've got him on a slot corner. And take a shot. It's Justin Jefferson. I get it. I don't really have a problem with it, but that's why goal line fades, just as a general whole, are viewed as bad because there's a lot of variables that can happen that are against you. And we saw it happen there. It sucks. That's really the long and the short of it.
And Jefferson, we're 6 games into the season, and Jefferson has 1 touchdown catch, which was in the first game. And they did target him on that fade, on that drive, and then Wentz tried to hit him on some big shots the last couple of drives. But I just feel like a lot of games, and this goes back even last year and beyond, where your best offensive player and you aren't targeting him in the red zone. I just find that inexcusable a lot of times, whether it's a quarterback issue or the play calling. Jefferson can't be your decoy or the guy you don't go to. Other teams find ways to get Devontae Adams in his prime. You couldn't fucking stop him down in the red zone. They found ways to get him open. The Vikings don't seem to be able to do that with Jefferson, and it is very frustrating and infuriating for me, especially now when you go he's on pace to have 3 touchdown catches for the season. It's not going to end up that way, but find a way to get this guy open. There's got to be natural rubs, things you can do that other teams do to get him open and get him the ball. And they don't do it. They seem to be like, oh, well, we'll use him as a decoy and we'll throw to Ben Urasek or CJ Ham to get a touchdown, which works sometimes, but throw to your best
Ham
player.
was wide ass open on that play.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. Right.
So,
yeah. The one time out of 20 where he would have actually got a touchdown on that sort of play.
Yeah.
But
I'm intrigued to watch the L22 with some of these red zone plays, Darren, because I'm curious how much of that they tried and they just weren't able to do. That last one where they end up kicking a field goal where they had trips and it was against man coverage, and then DeJean just blows up Jalen Naylor and they just covered it perfectly. At the end of the day, that's just great stuff. Defense gets paid too. Like
I can't imagine
wanna,
the defense is doing great stuff every play in the red zone.
Oh,
like that,
no,
though.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I want to see what some of these kind of play designs were, because we can only see so much in the live broadcast. But it's the red zone issues that we thought were looking better. I even mentioned it last week on the State of the Offense episode that we did. They were 10 of 15 in the red zone, which was a 12% growth year over year. Obviously, it was a small sample size. They were 10 of 15. Now they're 11 of 21, and it's right back to where they were, just over 50%. You got to try and find ways to figure this out. It's so frustrating. And they only have 4 days now. 4 days.
You ain't figuring it out with the quarterbacks that we have right now, unless McCarthy shows immense growth in the amount of time, which is why he needs to play and get in there.
Mm-hmm. If your argument is that Carson Wentz should be the starter, I'm going to be real. I'm not going to listen. There is no argument that says Carson Wentz should be the starter long term. You have nothing. There's so much mounting evidence that he is not good enough with any form of consistency. This isn't a Sam Darnold where you could make an argument that Darnold just had bad circumstances and bad luck, and then all of a sudden he goes on a tear and now he's an MVP candidate out in Seattle. This isn't a situation like Baker Mayfield where things didn't go well in Cleveland and then he got another chance in Tampa, and he's had almost 100 touchdowns in the last 2.5 seasons. Like, this isn't one of those situations. This is Carson Wentz is who he is, and you have to give the young guy a chance to figure it out. And guess what? If he stinks, it's okay if he stinks for a few games. He's got to figure it out. One of the interesting things, I'll credit SKOL on Twitter because he's a podiatrist. He is a foot doctor talking about some of the mechanical stuff with McCarthy, where it's not trying to fix his mechanics. It's trying to get his body used to the mechanics as he's healing from the injury, because there's so many little nuances. Your body, like when you tear an ACL, your body compensates by putting more stress on the other leg. So you don't want to have that. You don't want to have your weight displaced in a different way, because that can mess everything up. So when you're a young quarterback, especially one like McCarthy, who they're already trying to work on mechanical changes, having some of those drills coming off of the injury is really important. And I don't think, myself included, that wasn't really taken into effect as much. We just kind of all panicked when we heard, hey, they're doing mechanical stuff. Oh my gosh, the sky is falling. Well, I think that added context will make us feel just a little bit more comfortable, because it's the general construct. Obviously, this guy hasn't seen McCarthy's ankle, but you're talking about a general set of circumstances with a similar injury on how you can approach being better with it. And you just got to get him out there. And you know what? I hope it's Thursday. I hope they watch this film and look at Carson Wentz and take him behind the woodshed and leave him. Like, you can't have this. You can't. This is terrible. This is not fun football. My wife and I had no fun watching this game today. None. None.
That is a sad state of affairs, Tyler. That you had no fun over the past 3 hours.
The only fun I had was Billy Napier got fired at Florida. My long national nightmare is over there, so thank God. But no, I don't want to watch Carson Wentz play football anymore.
Well, that makes 4 of us, I think.
But, yeah.
I just don't know if we're going to get our wish on Thursday. I just don't know.
I don't think we will, but if he full practices tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it's very likely, because Thursday will be 5.5 weeks from injury.
We'll see. If not, start Max Brosmer.
I'm going to be honest. Look, I love Brosmer. We talked a lot about him, but if you put him in that situation on a short week, I wouldn't have even put him in as a starter this week. You just kind of got to deal with Carson Wentz for right now. Brosmer is good, and I think he could be a good quarterback, but he's also a UDFA rookie. Don't overlook.
I know. I'm well aware, but I was so frustrated, as you know, Tyler, because you were seeing my messages during that game with Carson Wentz being Wentz, and it was just what gets me. I watched his head, and he would lock onto his receivers. and then underthrow or overthrow or throw behind or
it's brutal, man.
Well, we're still 500. We got a 3-3 record. Season's not over. Plenty of room to make up for it.
But again, the quarterback play you're getting, you're win one, lose one, win one, lose two, win one, lose one. That's what you're going to get. The offense needs to be better, and it's not going to get better with the quarterbacks that we have and McCarthy's the guy with the upside. He has to get it and get to a position of quarterback play that Wentz cannot get to because Carson is what he is. And that's why I think that's why he needs to get in there. McCarthy, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll look ugly.
Number. They put them 2 games ahead on the total series.
They have their number.
I think the series was like 18-17 or something like that.
15-16, I think, yeah. Something like that.
But Eagles were up by 1.
It was 1 game difference.
Yeah. So, hey, it is what it is. Tyler, what are we going to be talking about tomorrow night?
I'm going to yell. I'm going to yell about Carson Wentz. I'm going to yell about this defense. It's just going to be a show about missed opportunities and probably do some focus red zone stuff. I'm at a loss. This is just, I'm not going to say this loss broke me, but I am so incredibly frustrated with so many little nuances, and we'll talk it out, figure it out, and boom, that'll be the show.
Injury report tomorrow, don't we?
Yes, it'll be an estimated injury report
because it's
Monday, probably Tuesday, and then Wednesday. Asaf Day, I don't know if I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you. The cope is simple. You get a decent quarterback in there, this Vikings team is good. That's simple. And you know what? The return of Andrew Van Ginkel, whenever that happens, will also make a huge difference on this team because it's going to make Flores more multiple with how he wants to rush the passer, how he wants to run some of his coverages, because the ability of him and Turner to be able to drop and do a bunch of fun stuff. He's not able to do nearly as much because he only has Turner. And that's not Turner's fault. It's just the fact that now you only have one guy to do that. So a lot of frustrating stuff. But the cope is that a good quarterback fixes most of this. And if McCarthy can turn into that by the end of the year, this team can make the playoffs still.
Did he mean cope or a Coke?
Look, if you need Coke, go to Quick Trip. You'll be able to find a few bottles of it, I promise.
Oh, I mean the white stuff.
Oh, I know what you meant. You'll have to call Scarface for that, but I don't think he's alive anymore.
No.
Jonas, what have you got going on in Germany?
Yeah, we'll probably do our weekly episode on either Wednesday or Thursday. Probably Wednesday because the game is on Thursday. So, yeah, I guess we'll talk about this game, and he might here too. So, yeah, it's.
Oops.
It was frustrating, but let's see what we get this week.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank everybody that joined us today in the chat. You all have been great for the most of you. And for the rest, well, we still thank you for showing up.
Jim NFL.
Hey, I know it's rough after the loss. I'm going to drink some more scotch, rip the show, get it up on podcast, and then watch some, hopefully, better football. With that, what do we say?
SKOL Vikings, I guess.
I'm drinking.
SKOL Vikings.
I'm sleeping.
I'm right with you.
Yeah.
I'm right with you.
Catch you later. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and share this episode with your friends and even your enemies. We'd love it. Thanks for watching Vikings First and SKOL. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we appreciate each and every one of you. SKOL.